Killer B, the goddamn witch finder general. You got a witch, I'll burn them up. Let's go.
Let me tell you something. Don't ever forget your dreams, man. Stick to them. Dream chasing in this fast lane. In this rat race, feel like I'm older than my dad's age. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. 24/7, 365, running the course that goes in circles. My advice to you is stop and smell the roses once in a while you got life in you. Savor all the precious moments in life. Cause life is but a moment in time. In a blink of an eye, all this could be taken away. While we take it for granted on that paper chase and making that cake and saving up to take it with you to the grave. This entertainment business is insane. I wish you could thought it can happen to you. Feel like you want something so bad you thought when you have it you through, but you ain't happy, you fool. Feel like you lost something. Don't know what it costs. Whoever thought it can happen to you. Feel like you want something so bad you thought when you have it you through, but you ain't happy, you fool. Feel like you lost something. Yeah, it can happen to you. Time is something you can't buy. Once you lose it, you can't find it back. It ain't money, it ain't bias. But time waits for no man, and it's running away. Can't do nothing but wave by. And when you're old and gray, remember the loved ones that stayed by you through your success and failures. Cause niggas will quit and bail on you and ditch you when your success is failing. I got successful failing. We went from friends to strangers now. Under our breath, we saying a bunch of shit and talking behind each other's backs. Tension, resentment, anger. And it is what it is, I can't explain it. Maybe God with grace send an angel to change the situation we made. This entertainment business is insane. I wish you could thought it can happen to you. Feel like you want something so bad you thought when you have it you through, but you ain't happy, you fool. Feel like you lost something. Don't know what it costs. Whoever thought it can happen to you. Feel like you want something so bad you thought when you have it you through, but you ain't happy, you fool.
Really should have ever heard.
Feel like you lost something.
Hey yo,
yeah, it can happen to you.
When you grow all your dreams to fur, turn into nightmares and be your murder.
Peace, y'all. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for
You just believe in work, and I done been there, believe it works. And when it seems to hurt, don't ever lose the fight in your heart. Just be when I'm enlightened, I spark with the pen. I start writing my thoughts, despite the critics and in spite of the charts. And I'm so gone, free falling since the day I was born, and still waiting on my rocket to come. I put my all in a song, but nowadays that don't mean a thing. This entertainment business is insane. I wish you
could thought it can happen to you. Feel like you want something so bad you thought when you have it you through, but you ain't happy, you fool. Feel like you lost something. Don't know what it costs. Whoever thought it can happen to you. Feel like you want something so bad you thought when you have it you through, but you ain't happy, you fool. Feel like you lost something.
Peace. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? It's Killer B, the goddamn witch finder general. You know, if I got a witch, I'm burning their asses up. So, got a quick show I want to do for you guys today. I heard an interview by this doctor by the name of Dr. Bernard Ashby. Two interviews he did. And he said some pretty good things and shared some pretty good information, especially for the Black community out there, people that are living in, say, lower income neighborhoods, and the situations and stuff that go on there that's different from other areas, and how you can protect yourself from the COVID-19 that is sweeping through America, killing people. So we can get right into this here. Okay. Hey B, what's up? All right, pause to the people. Yeah, got a good one for you guys today. So let me get right into this. Should I try to knock this out under an hour? I'm gonna try. All right, let's go.
Ashby. How's it going, brother?
Good morning. Good morning.
How y'all doing? Thanks for having me.
Peace, King. Peace, King.
Now you ain't even want to talk because you got a mask on while you talking to us through Zoom, man.
Yeah, so basically the reason why I have the mask on is basically I'm trying to promote my mask use. So a couple of my friends and myself have the mask on challenge. Essentially, we're just trying to encourage people to wear masks. We want to normalize it. So one of the asks that I have from all of you guys is to try to wear your mask, sometimes online, possibly, but basically it's another opportunity to promote different brands, Black businesses, but also teach the community to wear their masks, because we're actually shifting from the lockdown phase to normalization. And one of the parts of normalization is wearing everyday masks, especially if you're in any closed spaces.
Yo, I just told my homegirl that because we was texting back and forth, and she was saying, I'm not going to wear no mask because, you know, I forgot what her reason is. I got to read the text, but I was saying to her, like, look, that is going to be the new normal. I don't care how much you believe in God. All right. You still got to protect yourself.
Absolutely.
And there's a
you can see here, that's Charlamagne the God from the Breakfast Club speaking with Dr. Ashby. And it's a great thing that Dr. Ashby, he's wearing this mask in the video. And he's trying to help promote it, because as I've said in a lot of my videos, this is my own way of thinking. I'm not saying any of this stuff is fact. This is my own way of thinking. Black people usually tend to submit to trend over function. For example, things, say, let's look at alcohol, right? There was a time then Black people wasn't thinking about drinking Hennessy, right? Or the new thing was Hennessy, right? Then a rapper comes out that starts talking about Cavassier, and all of a sudden people stop drinking Hennessy and move on to that. And it's how influenced we are by media, by celebrities, by sports people, and stuff like that. Hip hop, we're very influenced by these people, whether it's the money that they might have, whether how they look, or their great songs that they're making, or how many touchdowns they made. We tend to try to attach ourselves to these people like we're them. Just like how NWA came out, spread all across the country. People in other sides of the country never knew anything about Crips and Bloods, gangbang, or anything until NWA came out. And then you would see suburban kids wearing Raiders jackets, Kings jackets, beat British Knight sneakers, and stuff from the influence. And next thing you know, they want to get into drugs, sell drugs, and stuff like that. Some of these things could be beneficial to the community, and some of these things could be terrible for the community. So as Charlamagne the God said, he had a friend that said, I'm not wearing no mask. And we see this out here today. And we tend to attach ourselves like a doctor we won't listen to. He's a lame. But we'll listen to some charismatic teacher, not teacher, or just person talking, selling a product, and all they have to do is say the white man's out to get us, or they're trying to kill us, or they don't care about Black people, and they're hooked, line and sinker. Let's go.
And there's a lot of businesses that won't even let you come inside without a mask on. So I think that is
absolutely, and that's gonna start. It's already started out here. They got signs on the buses. You ain't getting on this bitch without a mask. You're not getting in the store without a mask. And like I said on my last show and previous shows, a lot of us now have started a trend of sagging. This is how we sag our pants, wear our pants halfway off our ass. We're wearing a mask halfway off our face. It does you no good if the mask is around your chin. It does you no good if only your mouth is covered.
A good policy right now to enforce as well.
Yeah, and it's best to look at other countries. I mean, a lot of the countries that have been successful with this virus or who have experienced similar viruses in the past have worn masks. And there's quite a few studies, one in particular that shows mask use decreases the spread of the virus by 70%. And with the disproportionate impact of the virus in our communities, we need to take every precaution to decrease the spread of the virus. And masks are just one example of doing that. And it's easy to do. And you know, I want to use the hip hop culture to do that, because you know you can swag these masks out and do all kinds of things with them. This is my homegirl Body by Val. You know, she did a bunch of different masks for me. But long story short is that you can sauce these things up and like it could be a thing. And you know, you guys have a great platform, so I want to really get the word out because it's really, really effective. So that's
now you see that, and that's great. See, he using the platform, using regular nigga marketing skill, nigga marketing is shit to convince his people to wear these masks. You have to trick these niggas into doing something that's good for them. You literally have to trick our people into doing something good.
That's my little ask from y'all, you know, the whole group.
Are those masks medically like co-signed? Because I see a lot of those fly masks that got the Versace print and all of that.
See?
Are those actually good medical?
See? Niggas to wear some shit a little cute. It's supposed to be function over fashion. Function over fashion. A girl again, that's coming up my face. It's shit. All types of dumbass shit. Niggas gotta hit that blunt. Niggas gotta drink that bottle. So they don't want to wear, they just have the mask. I saw a bunch of niggas in the car the other day with the mask hanging on their chin. What fucking good is that? You might as well throw the fucking mask out the window. And we're gonna see how that could be even more dangerous than not wearing a mask. Let's go.
Mask that you can wear?
Yeah, actually they are co-signed. So if you go to cdc.gov, they actually teach you how to make your own mask. And essentially all they're asking is that you use 2 layers.
You gotta pay a nigga to go to cdc.gov. You literally gotta pay a nigga.
There's a cloth and just kind of like put something so that it can hook up around your ear or your head. And that's really all you need. And just to be clear, the purpose of the mask is to decrease you from spreading the virus. What we found is that there's a lot of asymptomatic spread. There's a lot of people who say, you know, I got allergies or whatever. So, you know, if somebody cough around you or sneeze around you, looking at them crazy. But if they have a mask on, you know, obviously they're not spreading their droplets as readily as other people without a mask. So definitely I encourage mask use, and I'm hoping it really does become a thing. Right. And the mask does decrease you receiving the infection, does decrease the spread of big droplets. The smaller aerosol droplets, not so much, and that's what you need the N95s for. But those are really needed for folks like us who are in the medical industry when we're taking care of COVID patients. Envy, I see you. So you got the N95.
I wanted to ask about that.
N95 masks, people. N95 masks give you the best protection of all the masks.
Now, I understand that we got to protect you guys, right? But now, when we go into Trader Joe's or Stop and Shop or BJ's or Costco, and you know, there's been cases where people in those places have contracted COVID-19. So am I not supposed to wear one that I know will protect me and wear something that might not protect me? Because, you know, like, so what do you tell those people? Because people in those places have coronavirus or been contracting it.
Well, listen, man, you know, do what you need to do to protect yourself and your family. That's what I tell people. Now, you know, the hospitals, you know, they need to do their job and protect us. That's their job. That's not your job. So if you can get your hands on an N95 mask, by all means, do that. And let the hospitals and the big businesses worry about that, because, you know, they fumble the ball and they need to figure that out. And honestly, you know, we're actually getting access to a lot more PPE, but that's not your problem. You understand? Like your problem is your family and your community.
Right now, where should we wear the mask? Because I saw you had yours on just now in the building. Like, do you take them off when you get in the building, or when do you wear it? Just outside?
Anytime you're in the building, you should have your mask on. And anytime you're going to be in close proximity with somebody, meaning less than 6 feet, you should definitely have a mask on. So, New York City, man, like, in Florida, we're more spaced out. So you could go outside in a lot of communities and not be in contact with anybody. But in New York City, if you're running on the street, you're going to be within 6 feet of somebody. So it might make sense to wear a mask.
At all times, you're going to be within 6 feet of somebody in New York City, especially Midtown that. You're going to be within 6 feet of somebody.
Even if you're running, just to decrease your risk of exposure. But in general, you should always have a mask on when you go to any closed space. So you go to like
it's kind of hard to wear that mask like that when you're running too, because it's hard to breathe. Because I was outside running, and I was like, I can't even breathe when I'm wearing this. It's kind of difficult.
Now, also with these masks,
when you're running, but specifically when you're indoors in any closed spaces, that's the most important time to wear a mask.
Now, can you reuse these masks? I know a lot of people say, some people say you can reuse them, and some people say you can't. Can you reuse?
Listen up. Listen to this. It's very important.
Use the masks.
Yeah, here's the issue now. So basically, those masks are not supposed to be reusable. Okay, they're supposed to be really one-time use, or one.
All right, sorry about that. Let me back this up a little bit. So what he was talking about was not wearing gloves when you go out and do your everyday thing. It's easier to get rid of the virus, I guess, from your hands. Let me back it up, just in case you guys missed it.
And so if you actually, just wash your hands frequently, that's a better way of avoiding the virus than wearing gloves. The only time you should be wearing gloves is if you're taking care of somebody with the virus or doing something specific, like making food. But use the gloves, take them off.
Oh, okay.
Give a particular dedicate some time to glove wearing. There's a lot of people out there wearing gloves, nominated, and so basically those masks are not supposed to be reusable. Okay, they're supposed to be really
masks are not supposed to be reusable.
One-time use, or one scenario use, and you're supposed to dispose of it because the virus particles can get on the mask and actually contaminate it. And so a big reason why
from niggas wearing the mask over their chin, constantly pulling over their face, pushing it down from their face, but they touching the blunt, they touching the steering wheel, they touching the what do you call it? The debit card keypad at the store. They're touching the door handles for buildings and stuff, and then they touch their face or they touch their mask. You're contaminating the mask. And sometimes your hands might go under the mask. So now you're getting the virus inside the mask and you're putting directly over your mouth and face.
Why folks are not really getting the benefit of the mask is that they then take the mask off, touch the virus, and then, touch other things and still end up with the virus. So essentially, the N95 masks are really supposed to be used when you're taking care of sick patients and you have a gown, gloves on, and then you take everything off and then you just kind of throw it away. And I just want to give a particular dedicate some time to glove wearing. There's a lot of people out there wearing gloves. Not a good idea because actually spread the virus. And a lot of folks, they have their gloves on and they're doing things like using their phone and whatnot. And actually, the gloves spread the virus more efficiently than your hands do. The virus actually sticks to your hands better. And so if you actually, just wash your hands frequently, that's a better way of avoiding the virus than wearing gloves. The only time you should be wearing gloves is if you're taking care of somebody with the virus or doing something specific, like, making food. But use the gloves, take them off, clean your hands.
I'm glad you said that because we've been using gloves to open packages. I put on gloves like I'm going to the ATM machine today. I'm wearing gloves. Like you say, that's not a good idea.
No, not a good idea. It's better just to keep your hands clean. So have your Purell on Disney, all right? And y'all can swag these things out as well. And you can make your own Purell at home with some aloe vera and some alcohol. So, we got to be, we got to use a little ingenuity. This is what I'm trying to communicate to our community, man. Like one of the things that I've really noticed is that our government, our leadership has failed us, and it's our time to step up and really look out for each other. So now I'm really trying to use this platform to promote the village mentality.
Now, what have you been seeing in Florida? What have you been seeing out in emergency rooms in Florida? How bad has it been? How are people surviving? And what can people do to make sure that their immune system is strong enough to fight this disease?
So Florida's getting hit. Yeah, thank you. So Florida's getting hit right now. So many of our ERs have a lot of folks coming in. Many of our ICUs have patients on the vents right now. We've had our fair share of deaths so far. One of the things that I am disappointed by is the lack of race-based data, and we'll come back to that later. And so, but Florida is expected to peak sometime in early May. So it's happening here. And as everyone saw, our governor, our leadership let everybody do their thing during spring break and, still go to the clubs and whatnot when the virus is here. And the virus is here way back. It has been documented to been here in Florida since Super Bowl. And you know how many people were here for Super Bowl. So, but that's a whole nother issue. But the point is that, Florida did not do such a good job. And that's what we're dealing with now. In terms of what you can do to protect yourself and improve your immunity, I mean, nothing replaces good lifestyle. And that's a big issue in our community. And that's a tough thing to ask somebody who's working 9 to 5, check to check, raising families. It's easy to preach to people and tell them, do better. But, anytime you, move your body, exercise is incredibly important. And watching what you eat, but preserved foods, sugars, carbs, all that stuff, you want to minimize and eat more fruits and vegetables. And I just kind of keep it there.
Okay.
I see that sports have been deemed essential in Florida now. Do you think that it's way too early for that and without an audience, but they've been using that performing center in Orlando. So I see now they're trying to figure out how they're going to get boxing back. What do you think about that? Too early?
Yeah. Man, let me, I'm going to try not to curse. I think that's just boneheaded. All right.
You can say bullshit. You can say bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit, man. It's stupid. Now, just look at other countries. Just use your common sense. Look at other countries. Look at China. Look at Singapore. Look at the Czech Republic. Look at Italy. They're not, using basic logic when they're making these decisions. You can see where people's priorities lie. And at the end of the day, they're just trying to make money, and they're choosing money over the public health. And, you can't listen to people that don't have any health background. They don't care about your health. They care about making that dollar. And so, again, you have to protect yourself and and they're choosing money over the public health. And you can't listen to people that don't have any health background. They don't care about your health. They care about making that dollar. And so, again, you have to protect yourself and make good decisions on your behalf.
See, this is the best time for these people to make an appearance to fool you to make money. Oh, take colloidal silver. Take nano silver and shit. It cures the coronavirus. And y'all sit there and believe that shit. Oh, eat garlic. It kills the coronavirus. I see one today. Put your bed out in the sun. Sit out in the sun. And cure the coronavirus. You know who you is, too. I'm going to get you later. I haven't time to comment on your post either. Shout out to you, man. Yeah, I ain't going to put you on blast. I know how you get down. All right.
Well, Dr. Ashby, I got to push back on you a little bit because you know that the craziest people in America come from the Bronx and all of Florida. So you asking Florida to use logic and common sense. Florida, Dr. Ashby, come on, my brother. You know better than that.
So speaking of Florida, let me rock my gator mask.
I like that.
Speaking of Florida, I look a little bit like Kodak Black, right?
You definitely look like
we can't understand you too well with that.
Yeah, we don't understand what you're saying with that one on.
you look like you're ready to get profiled.
Yeah, Lord. And that's a real thing, man. And shout out to my boy from Philly, DeMarco. He basically, like, when I was promoting the whole mask use, he was like, listen, man, you about to get people shot because, like, if they see a black brother rocking one of these masks, like, people are gonna, feel a certain way and want to actually, do something to him. And that's an example of structural racism, right? That's something that I would never have to consider for my normal everyday patients who are living in, senior citizen communities. But when I'm talking to, young black men, black and brown men, they got to worry about things like racial profiling. And if they wear a mask, people get scared. And so that's a real thing. But at the end of the day, like, I had to choose the public health concerns over the, the racism of our country. But that's a real thing.
Right. Yeah, I was in West Virginia one time, man, and it was freezing cold, and I had a ski mask on, and my white homeboy who I was with, he's dead now, his name's Shane Gandy, he goes, Charlamagne, you can't go in that drugstore with that mask on. And he said verbatim, you're a nigga in West Virginia, they'll shoot you dead. And I wasn't even offended he said the N-word, because he was looking out for me from a real place of concern.
He's trying to save your life. You know what it is? Yep. It's like real life, man. And that's unfortunate, man. And that needs to be part of the.
I had another video I'm going to do tonight. Someone sent me an article on a person that was shot running in the neighborhood and stuff. I'm going to do a video hopefully tonight. I'll get to that. It's a great video.
Discourse, but also I want to focus on the fact that we're dealing with an emergency right now, and there's things that we can do right now to prevent people from dying. And I sat here on the sidelines and watched our leadership just not do a damn thing for anybody. At least like for our communities. And so now I'm trying to use your platform to get the message out and tell people that we need to do what we need to do to protect ourselves, period.
Well, let's talk about how it's affecting our community and what we can do to make sure that this never happens again and cut down on some of our deaths. Yeah.
So, basically it begins with, structural racism. Open up a history book and you'll understand how we ended up here. And one of the things I get tired of talking about is disparities in healthcare. I mean, because it's just a symptom of the overall problem. We talk about the criminal justice system. We talk about poverty. We talk about all these negative things, and it all boils down to the same thing. The disease is America's history, our racist past. And at the end of the day, if you don't solve that issue, you're not going to solve these racial disparity issues in healthcare because, again, that's a symptom of the overall problem. And so I can only do so much as a doctor. I mean, I really think that, teachers have a lot more importance in dealing with these issues because, if you can get to a young man or a woman early on and educate them and empower them, that's a lot more powerful than me dealing with their diabetes or high blood pressure after the fact,
Right.
Dr. Ashby, can I ask you a question? Because we've been reading so many different things, and I just want to know what's true and what's not true, right? So I read about these ventilators, and they're saying they want to stop using them because 80% of people who end up being put on a ventilator end up dying from coronavirus. So can you break down what the ventilator is and what's going on with the usage and the stats and the numbers and whether or not it's basically over if you have to be put on a ventilator?
Great question. Absolutely great question. I got into a little discussion. Well, it wasn't really a discussion. With someone last week made a video was saying that black people are dying, they killing us and shit. But the masks are killing. No, I didn't say he said black people dying and killing. He said that people are dying from wearing the masks. And I just showed how we don't pay attention to anything like that. He shows me an article as proof, and they're talking about ventilators. A mask and a ventilator are two fucking different things. Let's go. Let's hear his answer on this. Because I believe personally, I'm not an expert on it, but this thing, it might be something to that. I don't know. Let's listen.
And not for nothing, I have another question on top of that. Should people be looking to buy ventilators in the future so next time this happens, we have ventilators at our house, because people are walking into these hospitals and not seeing their families ever again? That's something that I was thinking about as well.
But the easy answer to that one is no. You shouldn't buy your own ventilator unless you're Rihanna. But to answer that question is that we need to empower our communities, right? And we need to put in place policies, institutions that will take care of our people when something like this happens again. So,
make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. If you're not a subscriber already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Please. Very important to me. Thank you.
The medical professional should be running a ventilator. It's hard for the regular everyday person to run it. It's impossible. Like, you can't afford it. You don't have the technical expertise to run it. So really we got to advocate for our institutions to actually protect us. And that's a whole nother discussion. But I feel
next thing you know, they're going to be people talking about you can buy this ventilator for fucking $50 and there's a ton of motherfuckers going to be buying it and still wind up dead.
So to answer that, but to answer your question, Angela, this whole entire pandemic, I basically call it the fake news Olympics. I mean, there's been so much misinformation that's been super harmful to our community.
See?
Started with black people can't get it, and when I saw that, I almost lost my mind because I was like, that's dangerous. And as you can see, it's kind of playing out. There's a lot of theories about radiation due to 5G. And, believe what you believe, but don't give people information that's going to lead to them dying. And that's exactly what's happening, because a lot of folks think that it's not a virus, they're immune to it, and they're not making good decisions to protect themselves, like wearing a mask, like cleaning their hands. And so I wanted to kind of point that out. But to answer your question about the ventilators, that's a more complicated question, and that's kind of like a critical care, academic discussion, because it is true that people who are on the ventilators, the majority of them, at least in New York, ended up not making it off the ventilator. They passed away. And there was some concern that the ventilator was creating what we call barotrauma. So essentially, when you put the tube down somebody's trachea, you're pushing air into the lungs. And some doctors are saying, the actual pressure from the machine is actually damaging the lungs and causing the pneumonia or the acute respiratory distress syndrome physiology to get worse. And so that's more of an academic debate. Essentially, if you're getting put on a ventilator, it's because there's no other options. It's either you get the vent or you die. So, that's again, a high level discussion. In the meantime, we do encourage high flow oxygen because oxygenation is an incredibly important thing to give people or to support people with. And one of the things that we're trying to do is actually send people home who are staying at home and not going to the hospitals, give them access to their own O2 sat monitor. And a lot of Androids actually have the ability to do that. You can actually check your O2 sat on a monitor, and that's one of the telltale signs that you need to come into the ER if your oxygen saturation levels get low. So normally it should be around 99, 100%. And once you start getting below 95, getting close to 90%, that's when you know you have what we call hypoxemia or lack of oxygen in your blood. You need to get in because the lungs are being filled with debris, cells, and fluid. And you can't oxygenate very well.
Hey, Doc, you said that people should believe whatever it is that they want to believe. I totally disagree. We can't have these 5G niggas running around. We cannot. They like flat Earth niggas. We can't do that.
My fault. I didn't mean that. It was kind of like a throwaway statement. But no, don't believe that. I obviously don't believe that 100%. But what I'm saying is that we need
people don't believe that bullshit.
to focus on evidence-based medicine, and we need to be able to communicate with our community and give them good, strong information. And again, like I said, it's the fake news Olympics, and a lot of people, for whatever reason, because they know how to dance or rap, they have this platform, and people are actually listening to them. And they really need to focus on the people that actually been doing this from the get-go. And I want to give a shout out to my homegirl, Dr. Kizzy PhD. Dr. Corbett, she's actually the head virologist for the NIH, and she's like leading the charge on developing the vaccine. She was on AC 360 last night, and basically said that she anticipates that we would have access to the vaccine in fall for emergency use in probably the spring. And really, that's the only way we're going to go back to normal. Anything about a vaccine is really a wrap for any normal behavior.
So she's that confident. That means they pretty much figured it out, and now it's just a matter of producing. That's what that sounds like.
Well, they got 70 of them in production now, right?
And they have to test them.
Yeah, the trials are already in production. Again, this is a part of a family or class of viruses called the coronaviruses. And so we've already experienced very similar virus with the SARS epidemic and the MERS epidemic. So it's not like we're recreating the wheel here or creating something brand new. So there was already a template in place, and she just kind of took it and ran with it. And this is something that she was already doing prior to this thing ever happening. So that's why she ended up becoming the lead, not because there's some conspiracy with the government, whatever, man. Like, anyways, but I encourage you to talk to her because she deals with a lot of misinformation every day. And
yeah,
and folks like her and I, we're trying to fight for our community. We just want people to live. And a lot of people say negative things about us, but we're gonna keep doing what we need to do to support our community. And anything that I say, I'm gonna back it up with the data, straight up.
There you go.
In your
And what's your
when do you think we'll be able to come out of this lockdown and everything? In your expert opinion, I know people are saying 2022. People are saying perhaps by June. What is your expert opinion on when we'll be able to come back out again?
So the answer is I don't know, but I just kind of want to give you a little bit of context. So the reason why we went into lockdown, just to be clear, was to bend the curve. And really the concern was too many people becoming infected at the same time and overwhelming our healthcare system. And so that's the purpose of social isolation and lockdown. But now that we're getting past
Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch what he just said? Because of people not practicing the social distancing and stuff like this. And these government officials are not taking this thing serious, right? And when it was needed to be taken serious, it overwhelmed the hospitals. So what social distancing does is breaks down the increase of patients, of cases. It's less people that's going to be getting it. So it's going to be more people, going to have more attention placed on them to get better. You know what I mean? And it's going to have time to clear out some of these hospitals, to bring in people with other ailments and more people that actually contact the virus to be treated on efficiently. Not when the hospital's packed the capacity, over capacity, and you got people running around all over the place. That the doctors and the nurses, they only can pay but so much attention to each person at a time.
The overflow phase. Now we have to focus on how we're going to live with this, because this virus ain't going anywhere, right? And a lot of folks kind of have it in their head, like we locked down, we've got the virus, we go back. No, that's not how it works. It's now we need to figure out how do we like operate normally. And one of the things I think, I don't know who you had there, Cardi B or someone else talking about programs in China. Who's that? Early in the program?
I think it was Cardi with Bernie.
Cardi and Bernie.
But yeah, so Cardi was talking about that. So one of the things that a lot of countries are doing is using fever screening, right? And so anytime you're in a
I was just talking about that yesterday on my show about the thermal scanners. See that? Let y'all niggas keep playing. Y'all ain't gonna be able to go to the grocery store. Y'all ain't gonna be able to go over here because all y'all gonna have a fever because y'all don't want to listen. Y'all don't want to keep your asses in the house and y'all don't want to wear your mask.
Closed space. So if you're going to the grocery store or you're going to work, in China, particularly, they're checking your temperature. And if your temperature is above a certain point,
I'm actually for depopulation. because they do it in the fucking wildlife and it works. And we damn sure could use less stupid motherfuckers on the planet. Let's go.
That people are getting referred to fever clinics, but this is something that we can use in our community to help decrease the spread of the virus, especially if you're working in the building. So when you guys go back to work, this is something that y'all need to incorporate in your everyday lives. And then obviously the mass use and just the neurotic use or the being OCD about cleaning your hands, because this is really the main way how people spread the virus. We're just so used to touching our face that we don't even notice that we're doing it. So between using a mask and not spreading the virus.
What's funny, if you watch it, if I showed the video of this playing, all of them that's interviewing this guy are all just rubbing their faces constantly. The whole thing.
So you're not touching it on surfaces and cleaning your hands. Those will go along.
They actually clicked off the screen when he started talking about that and shit. So it just shows him and not them touching their face.
Way with preventing the virus.
So you're saying that that'll be a good thing to do, like have that thermostat, that thermometer outside of events, outside of clubs, outside of anything where there's gonna be a lot of people. And if you have a fever, we're gonna send your ass back home.
Yep.
They doing that now. They doing that in places in America now.
Yep.
No, but that'll be for forever. Forever. Could you imagine you go to a club or you go to a sporting event or you go to a seminar or you go to a car show or you go to the mall and there's somebody there like, nah, you got a fever, you got to go back home.
Yep. They should do that because it protects the people as in a whole. Take care of your fever. Go to the fucking doctor, nigga. They tell you that in school. If you're sick, even if you can't a little sick, keep that little nigga home. Because we don't want him to spread his cold or whatever, his flu or whatever he got. They don't want, why should other people have to suffer? The teacher make a little packet or something for him to do his work at home while he's sick. And with the information, this ain't like when I was in elementary school. Elementary school now, these kids probably don't even got books or nothing. They got laptops and tablets doing their work on.
Yep. I mean, I wish we had a protocol behind it, but at a minimum, you should not be in a group of a large group of people spreading the virus if you potentially have it. So yeah, these are like kind of low hanging fruit that I want us to focus on that we have access to, that we can start doing on our own. So again, between the mask, wearing the mask on, hashtag mask on, by the way, and cleaning your hands and screening for fevers, those are things that we can do right now to decrease the spread of virus. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was so let me back up a little bit. So you guys had Van Jones on Friday.
State Farm is a
That's right. That's right. He do look like he got it. But whatever. That's right. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get back at this.
Taught me when I was at Princeton, schooled me to the game a little bit. But so let me back up a little bit. So you guys had Van Jones on Friday. Yep. Van Jones, that's the homie, man. He taught me when I was at Princeton, schooled me to the game a little bit. But one of the things that he brought up was holding Biden accountable and holding our politicians accountable. And I second that, right? And so right now, this is like, we have so much leverage right now. Like they want our votes, and it's near to our votes, and we have an existential crisis that's impacting our community. So, Biden has a town hall tonight. That's cool. Town halls are cool, but I'm tired of talking right now. Like, what are you doing? We're in a hurricane. What are you doing? And one of the things that I want you guys to help me with is tell our politicians, ask them where's the data? Like, where is the data on these conditions? Because all of a sudden, y'all don't care about race. When it comes to everything else, you guys are fixated on race. But when it comes to figuring out who died from the virus, we can't find the racial data. And so that's one of the things I want to hold them accountable to. Another thing is testing. Why the hell is it that we still can't get tests? And so right now, we need to get rapid testing in all of our communities, because that's the next best thing to having a vaccine. Because once it's like X-ray vision. Once you know who has the virus, then you can, obviously put that person in timeout or put that person in quarantine so they're not spreading the virus around. So we need to make it less strict and let anybody who wants to get a test, And that's one thing that we can do. And the last thing I want to focus on is PPE for the community, personal protective equipment for the community.
That's a great idea. All the nonprofits that have services for pregnant women, have services for people to get food, for people to get some type of government assistance and everything. All these places should be supplied with PPE to give out to the people that aren't fortunate enough to be able to afford some of these things. I know a mask only costs $1, $2 or whatever, but to some people that adds up to $20 a week, or it's something that they can't. It's hard on them. Look at a homeless person, where he's gonna get $2. Like, you know what I mean? New York City, that's easy as hell. But if you live somewhere else, like, you know what I mean, it's gonna be harder. They're trying to get enough money to eat.
And essentially, you know, if you have somebody that's sick, right? If you live in a multi-generational home, which a lot of us do, right? I grew up with my grandmother, my cousin in the crib. Like, you can't isolate from them. So the next best thing to doing that is actually providing them with masks for the patient, so they're not spreading the virus around, and personal protective equipment. So gowns and gloves, and even a face mask. So when they go in that room to take care of that patient, they can not spread the virus to the rest of the house. And another small little tidbit that made me think of is opening windows. That's something that we don't do enough of, is keeping your windows open so that we can ventilate our homes. But that
you go right back to the old down south shit when you had Big Mama in the goddamn hospital bed in the middle of the goddamn living room. Some of y'all old school heads, y'all know about that shit down south. They don't put the kids in no home and shit. They bring them right to the crib, have them right in the living room, all fucking laced up in a damn hospital bed and shit, sit right in the living room.
It also made me think that's another example of structural oppression, basically, right? Because if you live in certain cities, like you got to contend with pollution, right? So if you open up the windows, I got to worry about you getting asthma attacks if you live in big cities and things like that. So, no, but you know, there's so many issues wrapped up in here, man. But I just wanted to touch on a few of those.
We appreciate where do
you buy the masks from, Doc? Shout out to your girl. What's the website for those masks you're showing?
Body by Val. You know, you follow on Instagram. You know, she works with Flow Rider and did some work with Fubu, but you know, she's giving out a lot of these to a lot of doctors, myself included, and she just kind of hooked me up. So props to her. My other homegirl, Alexis, she's a nurse. She made me this, and it has Tribe on here, and it's a co-working space in Overtown, one of the hoods here in Miami, that we're setting it up to be an emergency center for the community. So yeah, definitely. Like, I think this is an opportunity to give props or give business to our designers who are struggling as well. And we can also like wear masks with different brands on it to promote different causes or again, brands, because, you know, I want you guys to encourage people to wear the mask, but you can also use it as a strategy to support the community.
All right. Well, Doctor, thank you for checking in. Appreciate it, man. And be safe out there, Doc.
Yes.
I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Doctor.
That was Dr. Bernard Ashby. I could do another one real quick. I got another interview with him. I don't think I listened to it, but I never got confused with it. What up, Chris? You want to come on? I put the link up in there. I ain't be on here too much longer. I'm thinking about playing the other interview or leave it to later or something. You know what? Fuck it. I'll do it. All right. Let's go.
Katrina.
That people have talked about for a while, but because of economics and racism in America,
yes,
this has not been addressed.
Yes. Yo, so thanks for bringing that up, man. I really feel like we're having another Katrina moment right now as we speak, like a slow motion Katrina, because at the end of the day, we knew that COVID was coming, right? And I like to describe it as a hurricane. You know, it's like a hurricane's coming. What do you do when a hurricane comes? You board the windows, you put up the sandbags, and you evacuate. But we did none of that.
Thank you. You hear that shit? You hear that shit? That's something. That's it. That's it right there. Everybody told the motherfuckers tell you what to do, and we ain't do it. And next thing you know, we on the fucking roof screaming for help. We do shit like this all the time. We worried about the liquor store. We worried about how good the loud is. We're not thinking about our health and our well-being and our family. We're not thinking about none of that shit. Like I said, a gang of niggas hanging out in the car, smoking weed with the mask over their chin, like a fucking chin strap. Like they in the NFL or some fucking dumbass shit.
And now that we're in the eye of the hurricane, we're sitting here still like wondering what to do. And just like Katrina, our government has not mobilized to protect our communities. While they're dying at an extraordinarily, disproportionate rate.
Well, they haven't mobilized. They haven't mobilized to protect it. Really, anybody, unless that community already is affluent. There, which is why New York City is getting hit so hard. People now, if you don't live here, understand the level of poverty and the economic disparities in New York City, because now you're seeing areas literally 2 miles from Manhattan, mostly black and brown, that are suffering the most.
Bro, listen, man, you talking about things that we know, we talk about daily, and I'm tired of talking, right? So basically, my purpose on this station is I have an agenda, right? Like one of the things that we need to do is protect ourselves. I call it the village mentality.
Yep.
And one of the things that I'm asking people to do is just wear your mask.
Yep.
A lot of people don't understand.
How fucking hard is that? How fucking hard is that? Niggas a beat a motherfucking ass and shit for some stupid, retarded ass shit in the street, but they won't jump on a motherfucker for not having his mask on. They won't do that. We don't work together for shit. For shit. A motherfucker running out in your neighborhood. Ain't nobody seen that motherfucker before. Like, yo, who the fuck is that? Call the fucking cops. You got a suspicious motherfucker in the neighborhood. What a nigga do? She don't mind my business. A motherfucker crawling through your neighbor's window. What a nigga do? He crawling through mine. And then you add, the person add, did you see anybody try to get in my house last night? No, I ain't seen nothing. One day, I'm going to tell y'all a story. I don't give a fuck if niggas even hear this shit, right? Now, I'm going to tell y'all a quick story. I'm going to get back to it. I'm sorry to take it off track a little bit. Check this shit out, right? I used to fix these little kids' bike, right? Now, the parents, they don't fucking want to do shit for the little motherfuckers, right? I fixed the goddamn bike for the little girl. My cousin was with me. He's like, yo, you might as well fix yours too and shit. Why you changing the tubes and all that bullshit? I'm like, yo, you know what? You're right. Right? So I fixed the little girl's bike, put it in the yard, told the bike was done. I fixed mine. It was done, right? At the time, I was a sales rep and shit. So I ran in the house to check my emails and send a couple emails and stuff out. I wasn't in the house no more than 10 minutes. No more. I come out, my bike is gone. I'm like, what the fuck? Am I crazy? I could have sworn my bike was just right here. My bike has never been stolen ever in my life. And I used to have expensive ass fucking BMX bikes and all types of shit, right? My shit ain't never got stolen, never got taken, never got bullied from, right? Now this shit happened. I go knock on the neighbor's door like, yo, you see somebody take my bike? Right? First of all, it took him forever to open the door. The mother opens the window on the phone. Yeah, bitch. All that shit. They took your bike. They took your bike. I'm like, so y'all motherfuckers ain't say shit? Y'all motherfuckers ain't bothered to come out the house and knock on my motherfucking door or call the goddamn police? The kids come to the door and say, yeah, they took your bike. We see them. And then nobody says shit. They're sitting up in the goddamn house. Now, I just did their asses a favor by fixing their goddamn bike. So they kid won't be stuck in the house driving them fucking crazy while they trying to do whatever the fuck. We don't work together for shit. We don't care No, we only care about ourselves, and we barely do that.
Understand how effective wearing masks are for reducing the spread of the COVID-19, the virus that causes the COVID-19 disease, basically, okay? And really, when you wear a mask, it's to prevent you from spreading the disease to someone else. Because a lot of people, when you get it, initially you're asymptomatic, or you may never develop symptoms.
Right.
Dr. Fauci mentioned that up to half of the people that get the virus don't develop any significant symptoms. So, you could be spreading the virus and not even know it. Wow. And if you're wearing a mask, it prevents you from spreading the virus unbeknownst to you. So wearing a mask is something that they do in all the other countries that have been affected by viruses in the past.
China and shit. No, that's everyday life for them. That's everyday life for them. Wearing a mask is the standard. It's like wearing a hat.
So if you look at, China, Japan, other countries that have been affected by the SARS or MERS or H1N1, they wear routinely. And it's because they understand that to decrease the virus spread, you have to wear a mask. You live in multi-generational homes. You have to isolate when you're an essential employee. You work at a grocery store. You work in a correctional facility, or you're a bus driver. It's just hard to do that, right? So if you have to be out and about, which a lot of blacks and browns are, wearing a mask is extremely critical to protect themselves, but also the public needs to protect our essential workers. If you go to the grocery store, wearing a mask protects that grocery store, that clerk at the counter. So
now you're down in Miami.
Yes, sir.
And how here when I'm yesterday I drove to drop my daughter. Her aunt's on quarantine, her mom's on quarantine, and I drove and dropped my daughter at my aunt's crib for a little while. Her aunt's crib for a little while. Every car I see driving, everyone's wearing a mask on their face. If it's New York City, so there's still people walking. I see a lot of people wearing masks. Are you guys seeing that in Miami also?
Not really, not to the same extent. And it's really because of, New York got hit a lot harder than the rest of the country.
God.
This for those who don't know, Miami just as ghetto as New York City. This shit, the Bronx and Brooklyn, they can be just as ghetto. But what you see on TV is nice, but there's some places that ain't so nice.
New York got hit ridiculously hard. New York got hit harder than the rest of the world, period.
Right. Yeah, we're the worst now.
Yeah, so New York.
Everybody knows New York is the home of the scumbag. There was a video I seen earlier this morning about a lady. I don't know how true it was, but it was some testimonies. Nurses told this lady to tell the people whatever the fuck, right? And it's saying how the nurses and the doctors, they're just letting the people die. They're not even going in the rooms to treat the people or none of that stuff, right? When I was like, if anybody in New York know New York, that shit could be true right there. That could be some real shit. Because New York is the home of the scumbag. New York people don't talk to you. Like here, you can flag somebody down, ask for directions or whatever. They stop, they tell you which way to go or whatever. New York, niggas just keep walking. Excuse me, sir. Do you have the time? Excuse me, sir. Do you know how to get to this store? That motherfucker act like you wasn't even there. Walk right by your ass. You could be dead in the street. I'm telling y'all the truth. You could be dead in the street in New York City and niggas will walk right by your body and carry on with their business. Like they ain't see nothing, they ain't hear nothing, they ain't saying shit. So I can imagine too the mindset of the workers there. I could also imagine the mindset, because it's so filled up with so many black people. I can imagine the mindset of the people that are of the patients. I hear nurses and people in healthcare and stuff, CNAs and all that shit, talk all the time how these motherfuckers are just unbearable. So rude. They're trying to tell you how to do your job. They half dead and they trying to tell you this and trying to tell you this and shit. They talking about, what about Corona Silver? What about Nano? Why y'all ain't giving me Nano Silver? This guy makes a point that if you have some herbal remedies or some other things, you can ask your doctor for your family to bring this medicine to be given to you while you're in a hospital, like a home medicine.
As a state has more infections than basically, not basically, but any other country in the world, more than China, more than Iran, more than Italy, more than all of those countries, more than China and Iran combined. But you have to take those numbers with a grain of salt. But the point is, New York is ridiculously disproportionately affected by the virus, which actually predominantly came from Europe.
Doctor, real quick, if people don't have a mask like you have right now, can you give them some other options that are also effective to prevent the spreading of the disease?
Definitely. I encourage everybody to check out cdc.gov. It has some great tutorials, videos, some exhibits that show you how to make your own mask. Basically, you need cloth, 2 layers of cloth, and you could wrap it up kind of way, and you can be very creative. And basically, what I want to do using your platform is to create the Mask On Challenge. Our community is incredibly creative. The hip hop community is incredibly creative, and I want to make this a wave, basically. So, at your crib, make a dope mask and rock it, and see if you can challenge other people to make their own masks that meet the specifications laid out by the CDC.
Hashtag mask on.
Yes, sir.
Doctor, have you seen those demonstrations where people are wearing a mask and they have like a lighter and they attempt to blow it out? Like if you can blow it out, it's not effective. If you can't, then it is. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent. One of the things that you can, first of all, I want to explain that I'm not a mask expert. Okay. I'm a cardiologist, healthcare professional, and we've been forced to become experts in SARS-CoV-2 because of.
All right, now what are you saying? He said, well, he was right. He said, I'm not a mask expert. He's a cardiologist, right? Now y'all saying, oh, what the fuck do you know about the coronavirus? Let me tell you something about cardiologists, where a lot of healthcare offices are closed now. The cardiologist has to be open. Cardiologists are on the front line. They cannot refuse the patients to come in. I know someone that works at a cardiologist's office. They have to be open because it's people's hearts. It's not like a motherfucker got a broke leg or a sprained ankle, or not broke leg, but a sprained ankle or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Something that you can ask a person about or whatever over online or over the phone or something. A cardiologist is something that people have to have access to. So in those cases, he has to get special training to be able to handle the people that's coming into his office and how to protect him, how to protect others, and protect the patient. It's as simple as that.
What happened, but yes, there is some evidence that if you can't like really blow through the mask, that is one way of determining whether or not that mask is effective. So yes, that is the poor man's way to determine if your mask is actually protecting other people, and I want to emphasize that. All right. And then the other thing is, I want to touch my mask right now, but before I touch my mask, you want to make sure your hands are clean. And one of the reasons why masks do not work.
Nasty niggas, listen up. Nasty niggas, listen up. Wash your fucking hands before you touch your fucking mask. Well, y'all ain't wearing the motherfuckers anyway. But for y'all motherfuckers that do wear the motherfuckers because you think you look cute, wash your motherfucking hands.
Is because we're always touching our face. And the other thing that I want to emphasize is clean hands. You have to be almost OCD about it.
I would like to get into healthcare specific to the heart and heart disease.
Yes.
I'm not sure if people like yourself are, into natural medicines and as well as, vitamins and, well, not vitamins, but herbal solutions, diet. I'm not quite sure where people that are cardiologists have opinions on that. But me personally, most of the information that I've been able to access says that, fatty meats, as well as processed sugar, processed meat, these things are damaging people's hearts
and creating an atmosphere for this to become a bigger problem?
Listen, man, the diet is extremely important. And I'll be the first to admit it that doctors, especially in the United States, don't talk enough about lifestyle. And you mentioned sugars, processed food. That's really the thing that's killing a lot of people here in the U.S. You know, bread, rice, pasta, cookies, soda, juice, all of that stuff is increasing, you know, obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. The meats, you know, they're not ideal, especially the fatty meats. But I would like to just kind of point out that processed food is actually killing a lot more people. And in terms of this being, you know, lifestyle, moving your body is extremely important. If you can move up to a mile a day, that's extremely important, especially during this lockdown. You know, as long as you're practicing social distancing, so 6 feet minimum, and watching what you eat, but you know, less processed food. But that's a hard thing to ask when people are just trying to struggle to eat. You know, so I like to just try to focus on things that people can actually do, which is move your body and just try to make better choices.
A hard thing to ask a nigga. A hard thing to ask a nigga to change their diet. They like hog maws and pig feet too goddamn much. They like it more than they like it more than their health. Shit, I almost forgot about y'all.
Drink more water. Try to avoid carbs if at all possible.
Oh, you say that you're a health policy expert.
Yes.
What information do you have for people on the government level and the policy level that you think may change after this COVID-19? I mean, look, it's still going to require people to vote. It's still going to require people to be active in their local community.
That's right, P. They love it. They love it. It's nothing wrong with it, but you're supposed to have it in moderation. All the stuff in moderation. There's nothing wrong with having some damn ribs or some bullshit. Your bacon cheeseburger, but in moderation. Eat some vegetables with that motherfucker.
It's still going to require people to take action unto themselves and take responsibility unto themselves, right? The government's not going to...
I never understood that neck bone shit. Damn neck bones.
Swoop down and fix problems. I'm not a believer in that. It's going to require people to engage. But what policy do you see happening after this?
Listen, man, you know, Bernie started a movement, and I think it's up to us to continue it. You know, especially I like to call it the hip hop block. I mean, like there's a whole block of people from Generation X down to Generation Z that listen to hip hop, and we need to coalesce and actually advocate for our own interests. And as you can see, something like this, you know, kind of just puts it out there. And yeah, you need to go out and vote, but more than vote, you need to hold these politicians accountable. Because a lot of things the Democratic Party does, they don't look out for our interests. You know, they take our vote for granted. And so you got to hold them accountable and tell them straight up, like, you know, I want to curse right now, but let me calm down. But like, you know, you got to look out for us, man. You cannot take our votes for granted. So in terms of specifics, you know, we need more access to healthcare. And even more specifically, in terms of what's going on right now, because I like to say that this is a hurricane. Right now, we're in the eye of Hurricane Katrina, COVID-19. And we need things like access to PPE for people who are vulnerable, personal protective equipment. So people in vulnerable communities, they need access to masks and even N95s if they're vulnerable. Other things that we need right now is access to testing. Those communities that are being disproportionately impacted, we need testing ASAP. Okay, we need to set up testing centers. Everybody in that area needs to be tested. Why? Because you know, anything short of a vaccine, you know, you need to be able to determine who has the infection. It's kind of like having X-ray vision. And so, if you could test everybody in that community, you know who has it, who doesn't, and then you could avoid the infection and actually do contact tracing, meaning that people who are exposed to individuals who tested positive, can then undergo self-quarantine and prevent them from further spreading the virus. But there's a bunch of other things. But at the end of the day, we need to focus on our communities, and our government right now is actually failing us. And we need to have the village mentality and do things like they do in other countries, like supporting vulnerable populations. And I want to, really encourage everybody to look out for their neighbors, man, because all we got is us right now.
Dr. Bernard Ashby, cardiologist, thank you for your time, man, and thank you for the words today. Your message is something that obviously we're hearing a lot of places, and we're also trying to communicate here on our show every day. But this isn't one of those messages that you get to say one time and people get it.
Nah. Yeah, we gotta hit the waves, man. Y'all have a very powerful platform right now, and one of the things that I'm proud of is a lot of people like me are doctors and professionals now. Now it's our time to make a change, okay? Because we're under attack right now. We're at war right now, and we need to squad up. And one of the things that I want to encourage y'all to do is wear your mask.
Yeah.
Because you guys are influencers, and so wearing your mask, even on air, tells people that it normalizes it. Because a lot of people are not watching CNN. They're not watching these popular news outlets. They're listening to y'all.
Yo, Grant, bring my N95s, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah. What you said?
We got N95s here at the station.
Right.
We've been had on stash. Rosenberg, how many you got at home? You got 2 still?
I'm giving them away today. Actually, I was going to give them to the hospital.
You're the 2 that you have.
I have like 4 or 5.
I have regular surgical masks at home too.
Yeah. At least with a surgical mask, but y'all swag out some nice homemade masks. I want y'all to be part of the mask on challenge.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I have some good homemade ones coming.
All right, man. Y'all rock them things and let the community know, because New York, they know, because every day you see the people dying there, but the rest of the country hasn't hit yet. And I don't want that to happen. So you got to encourage people to stay home and rock their masks and clean their hands, man.
My joint is fire too. Swagged out. You know what I mean?
Lord.
Got my bandana on.
You don't sound great.
Yo, let's go, man.
Hey, E-Roy, I want to point out something that I discussed with my family last night. And this kind of points to structural inequality, structural racism. One of the things that my people was worried about, my man DeMarco from Philly, he said, you know what, if you encourage people to wear masks, they might get shot, bro. Like, people get scared when they see your brother wearing a mask.
That's a fact.
And that's an example of structural racism, dog.
Of course.
Do you understand? Like that's something that I would not consider for my patients living in other communities. But that's something I got to consider for a black and brown boy living in New York City, Philly.
Well, and also that's why I got this bandana on right now. But that's why when you spoke about PPE earlier, it makes it more of an official item, right?
Yes.
Like an N95 or a surgical mask. It doesn't look like just a bandana over somebody's face.
Hey, listen, man, my cousin, he got tats on his face and he was wearing an N95, a surgical one, the same one they wear in the hospital. He said when he walked into the bank that they acted like homie was about to rob the place.
Yeah, well, they probably was gonna act like that anyway, without the mask.
But what I'm saying is that that's just an example of what we got to deal with, and it's unfortunate, man. But
well, and like we started the conversation, and this is key. These problems have always been here.
Yes.
And just like with Katrina, or even when we was dealing with drug abuse, and the crack eras, those problems disproportionately affect us and people who look like us and our family members. And that's always been there. But we continue because it's either the only option or the best option to operate in a space, and the space I'm talking about is America, where everything's all good and we gonna figure it out. And unfortunately, operating in that mindset and opting into this American bullshit marketing system has ultimately ended us up with a lot of fast food in our communities, a lot of dependency issues and trauma which came from slavery and other things, and now we're here. And so we're dying at a higher clip, and we got to take matters into our own hands and not sit around and act like the government is going to swoop down and save poor people. There is no precedents for that happening.
Yep. Yo, listen, man, you hit the nail on the head. That ain't gonna change overnight. And right now, in the eye of the storm, all we got is us.
And if you're not ready, if your household is not ready to start talking about how our cultural foods are the killers, about how that fried chicken that you line up for multiple times a week is the killer,
yeah,
right? Then you're not ready to live.
Yes, sir. Right. I mean, our lifestyle is extremely important, man. And, you know, there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of lives, man. There's a lot of lives, especially, you know, when you live in paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
When you have you know, a lot of kids, you know, in your home, you have a lot of dependents. You know, a lot of people aren't paying attention to their health, man. They just get whatever's accessible. And that is a structural issue that we need to get to the bottom of, man. And talking about it in these platforms is extremely important, but we need real structural change, and that starts with us really, you know, looking out for our own special interests and that, you know, voting. But even during this pandemic, man, we need to figure out how we could prevent this virus from spreading through our community and disproportionately further killing our brothers, sisters, you know, cousins, aunties, uncles, aunts. You know, because right now we are in the midst of a pandemic, and we need to mobilize and protect ourselves right now.
Dr. Bernard Ashby, thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was Dr. Bernard Ashby. So, with that, we're gonna head on out of here.